Hello, today I am covering Model OX, my favorite model in the Mega Man CX series, and the one that won the poll I made for the Model F video. Thankfully, I'll only have to cover Mega Man CX for this video, but there's still a lot to cover, and for every model after this one, there's only one game to cover. Like the previous videos, I'll be covering the basics and more complex things about this model. Here's the games I'm covering, so let's get into it. Model OX is based on Omega from the Mega Man Zero series, who is based on Zero from both the X and Zero series. I don't need to explain what I think about these two, but they are a few of my favorites in all of Mega Man. The way you get this model is way different than the ones covered so far, and unlike every other model in the ZX series, it's the only one that's locked to a difficulty higher than easy mode. To get this model, you need to beat the game, make sure you have to clear on that save, and you can get it in two ways. Either beat Omega, or beat all 8 of the Mudos Reploids. Both of these can be found in Area N. After doing either condition, go here, go back to Area X, talk to Fluve, and you have Model OX. Again, you can get this only in the post-game, and the difficulty has to be on normal or hard. Model OX has two weapons, the OX Buster and the OX Saber. Unlike the Guardian models, we only have two things to get into before the attacks. In the water, almost every model is slower. The exceptions to this are Model L and Model OX, which keep their normal speed in the water. This doesn't do too much, but it's nice to have. Model OX has a mechanic that is only in Mega Man CX. The other Guardian models have this as well. This mechanic is the Overdrive, which is activated by tapping A. When Overdrive is active, all of your attacks do double damage, and inflict that model's respective element. Model OX has elements locked to certain attacks, while most of its moves are null element, with all of them being null when not in Overdrive. The elements are more important in stages, and against the enemies and bosses, so I'll be in depth with the elements there, but they'll still be covered here. Overdrive for the Guardian models works like this. 1 point of the biometal gauge is depleted upon activation, and 1 point is depleted every second. But Model OX has no biometal gauge. So for this model, you have infinite Overdrive. The only ways Overdrive can be turned off are if you get hit, screen transition, switch models, or turn it off yourself. This is absolutely broken and makes Model OX stupidly strong. Unfortunately though, there is a catch, but we'll get into that later. I'll start with attacks from the Buster, as there's less to go over. The OX Buster has 3 attacks, and you'll do these regardless of the state you're in. These attacks are the Uncharged Shot, the Semi-Charged Shot, and the Fully Charged Shot. There's not much to go over for these 3, other than these 3 being the best range options of Model OX. And the Fully Charged Shot is pretty strong, albeit nowhere near the strongest tool in its kit. Moving on to attacks from the OX Saber, starting with the Triple Slash. Like with Model CX, this move could be cancelled on the first or second slash by pressing the Saber button those amount of times. You of course also have the Air Slash, which can be converted into a Skull Crush if you hold down Y when you're in the air, or a Rolling Slash, which can be done by mashing Y, or holding up and then mashing Y. The Rolling Slash on Model OX is the exact same as Model ZX, so you already know it's crazy strong. You also have the Wall Slash, Walking Slash, and Dash Slash. While the Wall Slash and Air Slash do the same damage, the Dash Slash actually does more damage than both of them. It is a lot slower though, so that balances things out. The final attack for the Saber is the Charge Saber. There's not much to go over for it. It's very strong and has a pretty big hitbox. There's not much to go over normally, but Overdrive gives you a lot of moves. But you do lose out on some. You lose out on the Dash Slash, Walking Slash, Skull Crush, Rolling Slash, the Air Slash, although via technicality, and the Charge Saber. This is a big list of moves, some of them being pretty good. That's what I meant by there being a catch. Moving on to moves from the OX Buster and Overdrive, you gain some stuff, but it overall doesn't change too much. Your uncharged shots become the semi-charged shots, your semi-charged shots become fully charged shots, and a full charge will grant you 2 charge shots. The second shot having a higher combo value, so it can combo against bosses. This gives you the best and some of the most spammable range options in the series. The spamming part is only beaten by Model P and Model F. You do get some new stuff though, starting with the Earth Crush. This attack is performed by holding down and pressing Y while not holding a charge. This move kicks up 4 boulders, 2 on both sides. The first 2 go in a horizontal arc, going farther away, while the other 2 will stay closer to you, going at a higher arc. This isn't a screen nuke, but it's useful for getting a bunch of enemies on screen, if there are any. If you do these inputs, when you have a blue aura around you, you will do the Masenko. 9 projectiles will be created, and they will spread across the entire screen. They can be stopped by surfaces though. While this isn't technically a screen nuke, it will hit almost anything on screen, depending on the surface you are on. For the final attack the OX Buster has an overdrive, in the actual screen nuke, you will do the Rakoha. Beams of light will shoot up and down across the entire screen, assuming this move is used in the center of the screen, which will hit anything on screen. Each beam has its own combo value, with the closest ones having the lowest values, and the farthest ones having the highest values. This move is a good way to deal damage to everything on screen, and you can use it as a get out of jail free card, if a situation is bad enough. Now for the OX Saber and Overdrive, but what's here is very important. Starting with them is Ryunjin, which is performed by holding up and pressing Y while on the ground. A rising slash is done, with the fire element being used for it. It's pretty strong, and does good damage. Next is the Shinkujin, which is performed by holding down and pressing Y. A slash is performed, and an electric wave is shot out of it, which travels across the entire screen. The thunder element is used for this attack. This move is also strong, doing good damage, and being able to stun certain enemies and bosses. For both the Ryunjin and Shikujin, you can cancel into them when doing the triple slash. For the final saber attack and overdrive, in the final attack it has, it's the Arc Blade. This move replaces the moves you can use in the air, so regardless of mashing or direction, you'll always use this move, as long as you're in overdrive. A spinning slash is performed, with 8 ice waves being shot out in all 8 directions. The ice element is used for this attack, but only for the waves. This move is really good, especially with the screen coverage. With the basics finally done, let's move on to the complexities. Like Model X and ZX, you can only have 3 shots on screen at a time. If you can keep the uncharged bullets on screen, you can use them to kill a weak enemy instantly, or do chip damage to bigger ones. It won't be useful too often, but it's nice to have. When you are in overdrive, if you use the first shot of the charge shot, you can hold on to the second one for later. This can be useful when you need good damage from a distance while being able to easily keep your momentum. Like with Model ZX, you can do reversals. Reversals are using a saber or a melee weapon equivalent and quickly going left and right on the D-pad or joystick. Reversals can be tricky initially, but should be really easy when you do them enough. Reversals are good for getting more damage on enemies and mini-bosses, since they don't have invincibility frames. You can do reversals with Model OX, H, L, F, and ZX. For Model OX, you can do reversals with the Walking Slash, Air Slash, Rolling Slash, but this move benefits the least from it, Arc Blade, and the Charge Saber, which benefits the most from it. Finally, when the Rolling Slash is about to end, you can do a Skull Crush right after it. This is useful against enemies for constant damage, and to keep movement at a fast pace, but you need to know what you're doing for this to be effective. With the complexities listed, let's move on to the stages. Model OX is pretty good in all stages of this game. While its movement is nowhere near the best, as you don't have the air dashes of Model H, the platform making, and water swimming of Model L, the block breaking of Model F, or the platform hanging of Model P, but the sheer power it has makes it very useful in them. Having all elements is also very good. Just to summarize the effects they have in stages, the thunder element can put out fires and lower lava, the ice element can freeze water, and the fire element can break ice blocks and vines. All 3 of them can turn off mini-satellites, longer than no element moves can. Again, Model OX is great in all stages of Mega Man ZX due to the power and versatility of its moves. Almost anything can be dealt with Arc Blade alone, and the elements can help you get through certain stages quicker. The OX Buster is good for dealing with enemies from a range, and Rakoha can be a weak enemy killer across the entire screen. The OX Buster helps with everything really. The Shinkujin and Arc Blade can deal with enemies from a distance, and everything else is good in close and mid-range. There's nothing special to cover in any stage, so overall, Model OX is great in all the stages. It's incredible in them, even without the insane movement Model H has. With the stages traversed, let's move on to the enemies and bosses. Against enemies, all of them can be dealt with very easily. Regardless of range, you'll always have an option against them all, and even shielded enemies don't stand a chance against it. Certain moves are best in certain situations, like Arc Blade or Ryujin against enemies above you, Shinkujin against annoying grounded enemies, Rikoha against many weak enemies, and Charge Saber against tanky enemies. Or you can just spam the Buster in Overdrive. It sacrifices speed, and it's boring, but it's very effective. As for the elements, they have some useful properties. Thunder and Ice can stun enemies, turning off their collision and letting you pass through them, while Fire will simply do more damage than the move already did. With how easy it is to use the elemental moves, especially Arc Blade, you'll be stunning enemies constantly. Even without Overdrive, you're working with another Model CX, since there's only Mega Man CX to cover this time. For mini-bosses, it's great against every single one. I'm gonna list the best moves against every single one right now. For the Met and Keen Flyer, it's spamming the Buster in Overdrive. For Orhawk, Steve Finks, and Diadrake, it's the Arc Blade. For Tentalamias, it's either the Arc Blade or Rikoha, as proper usage of both completely shuts them down. And for the Lava Demon, it's Shinkujin, but don't be point blank, so only the projectile can hit. While overall, Model F is better than it, and Model H is better than it against some of them, Model OX is amazing against mini-bosses, always having multiple useful moves against all of them. Moving on to bosses, here's the combo chart for Model OX. I'll be talking for a bit instead of having it here for 5 seconds, but pause if you want to read. This model has the most combo routes out of any model in the ZX series, and it's not even close. However, your general routes stay the same, as the most important moves, like the Rolling Slash and Triple Slash, are near the end of its options, and the Buster Shots are at the start of its options, so your combo starters and enders are usually the same. Moving on to the elements, here's a quick summary of the system. Fire is good against Ice, Ice is good against Thunder, Thunder is good against Fire. Null has nothing special about it, all damage done is the same. This does prevent you from using certain moves against certain bosses, which is unfortunate, but not a massive deal. Going back to combo routes, since certain moves are exclusive to Overdrive, and some are exclusive to your normal state, turning Overdrive on and off is key to doing your combos, and you may have to do it several times in a combo. Double charge shots are always the opener. They do good damage and are fast. If you aren't fighting an ice boss, the wave of Shinkujin is also a good idea. Replacing Shinkujin in the Buster Shots with the Arc Blade can also work, especially against Thunder bosses, and Rikoha can deal with bosses if they're constantly above you. You can turn off Overdrive and do a Rolling Slash after, and it will do crazy damage, especially on bosses that like staying near the ground. You can do an Air Slash before it for extra damage, but not by much. Walking Slash and the Triple Slash is used right after, but there is some variety. You can cancel your Triple Slash into Shinkujin or Ryujin, which can be great combo enders, especially against the bosses that are weak to them. For Shinkujin, you have to hit with the slash itself, but that's not an issue if you do any of the Triple Slash, and you aren't fighting an ice boss. Then you can do Ryujin right after if you aren't fighting a Thunder boss. That's my most used combo route, so feel free to experiment, and even if you don't use Overdrive, you have all of the options Model CX has. In that case, the Charge Shot into Rolling Slash, into Walking Slash, into Triple Slash is the combo route you do most of the time, as the damage can be great if done right. Overall, Model OX is amazing against bosses, as the sheer damage output and the power of most moves will kill every boss in a few combos. While you can't fight some bosses, like Pandora and Prometheus, trust me, it would not struggle against those, not at all. Overall, I call Model OX Unparalleled, as no other model can match it in this game. Some do get close, especially Model H, who has good arguments for being the best, but I give it to Model OX when considering everything. I call it unnecessary, as you technically don't need it. As it's a post-game model, it doesn't specify in or against any element, and it's likely there's a model you use as your main one before you get it. Regardless, this model is incredibly broken. I think it's the best, and from how I've seen people rank the models, it's top 3 bare minimum. There's not much else I want to say, but I either will be, or already have, started work on the Mega Man Zero boss ranking. It's gonna be insanely fun, and I'll be making sure it's the best it can be. I'm planning for it to come out in December at the latest, so you should see it by then. Thanks for watching, and if you're wondering, 4 videos of the series are left, with Model A being next. I'll see you in the next video I make.